What is happening, you guys? Welcome back to Let's Go Win podcast, where we are here to help you win from within. And I have a good friend of mine coming on that has absolutely crushed it. He has been doing entrepreneurship since he was 15 years old. He's exited major companies several times, and he continues to just do really cool stuff, all with this amazing humility. You're going to love the conversation, and some of the stuff we get into is so cool. Daven Michaels is a New York Times bestselling author, entrepreneur, and global speaker known for turning ventures into thriving businesses. A world traveler and thought leader, he reaches millions through his social media and newsletters. He serves on multiple boards, publishes content, and recently founded the San Juan Social Club, a community of influencers in Puerto Rico. Daven is passionate about people, innovation, and empowering others to succeed. Well, brother, it's so good to have you on the show. I mean, normally we're doing some sort of meeting, but now I get a chance to interview you, brother. So
Yes.
How are you today?
I'm good. It's great to see you, buddy. I'm glad we're doing the interview today. Excited.
Yeah, if people can't see his background, it's not bad with the ocean in the background, the whole San Juan deal going on.
Yeah,
Maybe I start. Oh, you
there it
can
is.
see it.
Now
There
you
it
can
is.
see it. Yeah. There we go. A little washed out. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm going to ask you all kinds of no, it doesn't suck. I'm going to ask you all kinds of business questions for sure. But I have to get to, when did you decide, like, you know what, I want to go to San Juan? And then you do the San Juan Social Club, which is, I want to hear more about it. But it seems like it's been a really great move for you personally. Maybe you can talk about that, because I often hear dinner conversations, people like, we should go to Puerto Rico. It doesn't suck. And you are living proof that it doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I'll actually kind of share our traveling odyssey, because I think there's a lot of lessons to be gleaned in that whole zenith, if you will. So we lived in Hollywood Hills, right next to the Hollywood sign, for 15 years, and we had a wonderful life there. But taxes were outrageous. I mean, I don't know, all in with state tax. We were in the 55% probably range, something like that. So basically, half of the year I worked for the federal government. So after 15 years, we were ready for a change. I was ready for a change, and I was looking for a state that didn't have state tax. The closest, easiest was Vegas. And I'll tell you this, it's kind of funny. So we were in our Hollywood house, and it took a month to pack up 15 years of life, right? And then the movers came, and it took them 8 hours to pack up 15 years of life. And then everything was packed up. We hadn't sold the house yet. And my kids and my girlfriend Liz had jumped in the car. The movers were in the truck. Everyone's getting ready to drive to Vegas. And I go, hang on, I'll be right back. And I walked back into our house. We had this 3-level glass house. It looked over the whole city. I mean, cool, right? And a glass house on top of the city looks really cool with no furniture. I think it looks even cooler without, right? It just looks like a car commercial, right? Something like that. And I remember thinking to myself, what the hell are we doing? What the hell are we doing? We had this great life in LA. But and in that moment, I was like, I could just change my mind. We could move back in the house. My girlfriend would think I'm nuts. The movers were on the clock. They didn't care. My daughter would have been happy. She didn't want to leave LA. And my son was ambivalent because he never left his room. He was a gamer. So, but I said, screw it, we're going. So I didn't say a word, but I was in shock. I really was. It was like PTSD. So we get in the car, we drive to Vegas. The next day, the movers come, they move in our stuff. And now I'm sitting, and we had a high-rise penthouse on the Strip. Okay. So now the movers come in and they leave. And now I'm sitting in an ocean of boxes looking out over the Strip. And I think to myself, what the hell are we doing? Right. But every day I got better. And believe it or not, our quality of life went up from Hollywood, from LA, coveted place to live, to Vegas, living on the Strip. It was amazing. We had the best of everything, the best shows, best food, best concerts, and all your best friends come to you every week. I think that Vegas is the greatest state in the nation for networking, because instead of you having to go to everybody, they all come to you. Everything goes from push to pull. Your friends are coming in all the time, every single week. And it was wonderful. We loved it. Most people live in Vegas. They live in the suburbs. They never go to the Strip. We lived on the Strip. We never left. And it was wonderful. 24-hour lifestyle. We absolutely loved it. So lesson learned there is, break out of your comfort zone, do something different, right? Also, another lesson is if you can get into a lower tax position, great too, right? And Vegas was that. But also, this was a big one. 20,000 people live, or sorry, excuse me, 20 million people live in LA. I don't know what the number is right now, but it's got to be around 20 mil. Vegas is 3 mil. Okay. And what I learned, it was the first time that I lived in a small state. And I learned that you can make a big impact in a smaller place, right? You become a big fish in a smaller pond. And that was huge. I was able to come in, make an impact, do all kinds of cool stuff. And we loved it. It was a great 5 years. So many of you may or may not know, but Puerto Rico has some amazing tax advantages. If you're a U.S. citizen and you jump through the legal hoops, you make Puerto Rico your home, you live here half the year, we enjoy 4%. And by the way, I just want to preface this always by saying I'm not a tax person and I'm not an accountant, and seek out your own advice. But Puerto Rico offers a 4% federal income tax on corporate profits, 0% capital gains, 0% dividends, which is a huge, huge game changer. So I heard about the Puerto Rico tax incentives about over a decade ago, about 11 years ago, when they first announced it. I was on a cruise, and we'll talk about cruising in a little while, right? I was on a cruise, the cruise that you and I met, Jay. And we met on the Marketers Cruise, which is all the top marketers from all over the world once a year go on a group cruise, and they're in their 19th year. Now, next year will be actually the 20th anniversary of the Marketers Cruise. Amazing legacy. And I've spoken on that cruise for the last decade. So I was on that cruise. It was probably the first year. It was the first year I spoke on the cruise. And a friend of mine who I'd known for several years told me about the Puerto Rico tax incentives. And I said, bullshit. Sorry, baloney. I said baloney. I said,
bullshit's good, man.
it just didn't. I was like, there's no way. How can you do that? How does that make sense? Well, what I later learned, and again, I'm not this is not tax advice, but the U.S. Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory. The U.S. grants certain abilities to these territories. We don't pay our taxes to the IRS. We file an informational tax return to the IRS, but we have a governing body here called Hacienda, and so Hacienda creates these incentives to attract more business to Puerto Rico. Our number one export is our tax incentives. And by the way, when I said about that 4% corporate tax, that's on export only, which is a little weird. If I come here, like they want us to come here and start businesses, right, and contribute to the economy. If I start a business here, if I have an Airbnb here, I'm going to pay regular taxes, just like I would in the States. Having said that, though, we still do it. I'm doing business here. A lot of my friends are doing business here. A lot of people are making an impact, et cetera, et cetera. But we put money into the tax base. We hire people, no matter what. Even if you don't start a business here, you're going to add, to what's going on here. We give to charity, et cetera. Currently, the decree actually demands, like it's a part of it, to qualify. We have to give to a charity every year. People who come in now have to do $10,000 a year. My decree was $5,000 a year. You get grandfathered into that decree. But anyways, I digress. So I heard about the tax incentives 11 years ago, right when it started. Thought it was baloney. And then I moved to Vegas for a tax incentive. And I was in EO. I'm sure you know Entrepreneurs Organization. And in my EO forum, there was a guy, and we somehow got on the subject of Puerto Rico and their tax deal. And he goes, well, I got the guy. I go, you got the guy? He goes, yeah, I got the guy. I'm like, oh, okay, well, connect me with the guy. So he connected me with the guy, very prominent lawyer here in Puerto Rico, top of his game. He was the number one guy. He went to jail. Yeah, momentarily. He's out, but
not funny for him, but it's just
yeah. Fed set him up, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I can't speak to that. But destroyed his career. I don't think they ever prosecuted. I don't think they ever will, but destroyed his career and reputation. Wonderful human being, a very accomplished individual. It was a shame. But anyways, I hired him because I wanted to hire the best, which I don't normally always hire the best. Sometimes it's middle, right? You don't want to pay through the nose for legal and accounting, but I want to make sure it was done right. So, but anyways, um, so he said, I've got the guy. So he connected me with the guy. We spoke immediately. And immediately I was like, I want to move to Puerto Rico. I told my girlfriend, I said, my fiance, I said, we're moving to Puerto Rico. And she said, you're nuts. Um, so we wanted to come check out Puerto Rico the week of Hurricane Maria. So I called my real estate agent. I said, can I come down? He said, well, we have a little storm that's coming our way. He said, if it passes us, you can come next week, because another one passed a week before and decimated the BVIs. So it was coming to Puerto Rico. Everybody stocked up. Then it passed. Everybody sent their stuff they stocked up on to the BVIs. And then the next week, Hurricane Maria, once in a 100-year event, hit Puerto Rico, right? No good deed goes unpunished, right? But anyways, so he said, if it passes us, you can come next week. Obviously, it didn't pass. So every month I would call, can I come? No. Can I come? No. Can I come? No. And at month 3.5, he said, okay, we have power, sporadically come. And we came, we looked, we found the home of our dreams, and we moved here. But back then, I mean, it was pretty nutty. Puerto Rico was still rebuilding. There were no stoplights. Power was intermittent. Walmart was in a tent. I always say you can always tell who the pioneers are because they're the ones with the arrows in their back. But it was a great move, and again, this is a smaller place, right? So Puerto Rico probably has about 2.8, 2.9 million people. And in the central San Juan, I mean, it's far less, right? And you can make an impact here. If you want to come here, you want to make a difference, you want to get involved in charitable pursuits, start some businesses. It's wonderful. It's great. Is it perfect? No. We there are challenges to starting Puerto Rico businesses, Puerto Rico construction, believe me, plenty of challenges. But the people are lovely. The food's great. The weather is wonderful, almost all year long. We rarely get hurricanes. If you look at the press, it's like, oh my God, Puerto Rico hurricanes, because occasionally we have big ones. It's rare. And of course, once in a 100-year event was Hurricane Maria, which was insane.
I don't mean to cut you off, but I love the fact that the power outage for, what did you say, 3.5, 4 months, it didn't deter you at all. You're like, all right, cool, let's do this. But I think there's a lesson here, right? I mean, it
is. It takes a pioneering spirit to pick up everything and move here. Now, I will say, I'll tell you, the biggest challenge was really for those people that were here from day one to that 3.5 months. You know what I mean? I came in when, power was starting to come back on, etc. It was really tough for those people. I was not one of those people, you know what I mean? And so I want to give them credit because it was pretty hardcore what happened in Puerto Rico.
So, brother, your background is so diverse as I've gotten to know you a little bit. Like, I think of Daven as this big business guy that sold his company to a public company, which is all true.
Yeah.
You also were like one of the biggest EDM like DJs, producers. Producers.
Yeah.
So business, it just seems to come natural to you. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if you recognize opportunities better than other. What would you say? Because look, the San Juan Social Club we'll talk about.
Yeah.
Obviously, the way you and I met is the Capstone deal, and what I think is absolutely incredible, which I want everybody, all of my listeners, to know about it. And we'll absolutely get to that. But what is it for you that has been like, you know what? This is why I've been so successful in business, because, brother, you have absolutely done some remarkable stuff at a relatively young age, and you continue to do so.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, let's real quickly, because I forgot, let's close the loop on San Juan Social Club and just tell everyone about that. So remember we talked about, being able to make an impact. So when I came here, I started a little group to bring us expats together with the locals for food, conversation, and networking. And fast forward, 8 years later, we have over 3,000 people in the San Juan Social Club.
Wow.
And so I do events once a month for free as a public service to bring everyone together. I want there to be no barrier to entry. It's available to everybody. And then once a year, we do a cruise on Virgin, the San Juan Social Club cruise, which sound familiar. That inspiration from that came from the Marketers Cruise, where you and I met, Jam. And Um, our first cruise, we had 238 cruisers from Puerto Rico and beyond. It's for everybody that wants to network with very high level, successful entrepreneurs and executives. We had 238 cruisers. I gave all the money to charity here on the island, of course. Yeah, all the profits. It was great. Then this year, we did our second annual San Juan Social Club cruise, 458 cruisers.
Wow.
It was amazing. It was fantastic. And I proposed to my girlfriend, now my fiance Liz, which is cool. Next year, in 2026, March 21st to the 28th, the third annual San Juan Social Club cruise, I'll be getting married on that cruise. So we're inviting all our friends.
Yes.
But it's a perfect example of like how you can kind of make an impact. I think this would have been more challenging to do in a place like LA, but in a place like Puerto Rico, I mean, everybody knows everybody here. You know, it's a huge small town, if you will. So yeah. So now to answer your question, success in entrepreneurship, you know, it's a funny thing. So I started my business when I was 15. I always had the entrepreneurial gene. Interesting story. I was adopted. My parents were not entrepreneurial at all. My dad was a company man, worked for the same company for 40 years. My mom was a housewife, took care of us, took care of me. I was an only child. What's interesting, JM, I don't know if you know this or not, but last week I was in New York. I was speaking at Con Edison. I was speaking to all the off-takers, shareholders, and stakeholders in the New York State power grid, because we have a big power project that we have an exit coming up on. So I was talking about that. But the bigger thing is, last week I met, after a 20-year search, I met my biological dad. Oh. I met my biological half brother. I found out about my biological half sister. I found out who my biological mother is. I found out that she has 3 daughters, so I have 3 more biological siblings. So I grew up an only child. I always wanted brothers and sisters. Now, potentially, I have 5. But here was the interesting thing. So entrepreneurship was not in my household. And I'm huge. I think about nature and nurture a lot. And I've always thought it's all about nurture. I'm sorry, it's all about nurture, yes, as opposed to nature. I feel like, you know, you become the product of your surroundings, right? And of course that is true. But I'll give you an example. My dog, Penny, she's 10 years old. She doesn't like dogs. She's never spent a minute with a dog, yet she does everything dogs do. Okay. Hello. I think we do all that too by design, and we just don't realize it. And so when I met my biological dad last week, I'm sitting across the table from him. He looks like me. His skin's like mine. His hands are like mine. He talks like me. He's an entrepreneur. He even dresses like me, JM. If I show you a picture of him, you'll flip out.
Which, that's some style, guys. It's just so he's it's
right now,
a style.
Right now I'm casual, but obviously I just came from the gym. But I do have a unique style that, honestly, unless you're gay, you probably wouldn't dress like me. I mean, it's just, let's just lay it out. Let's just be honest. Okay. So, but my 78-year-old dad, biological dad, not to dishonor my actual dad, dresses just like me. I'm going to show you a picture after we wrap this up. You're going to flip out. Okay. So anyways, entrepreneurship. So I started my business when I was 15. Great thing about my parents is, now when I talk about my parents, it's the ones who raised me, who are my real parents. They're the greatest parents that ever lived. I never want to, you know, I always want to pay homage to them. Never any disrespect to even think that, like, just because somebody is my blood father, that they would ever even replace them. Right. Okay. So anyways, the great thing about my parents, they did not understand entrepreneurship. They knew nothing about it. But they encouraged me to do everything, no matter how stupid it was, you know, and they were my biggest fans. And so at 15, I started my first company. I was designing clothing for music groups, and this was in the early 80s. My bands had nothing going on. They were playing their garage, okay, most of them. But an amazing thing happened. MTV came on the air, changed the face of music, changed my life. I was designing clothing for these bands that literally had nothing going on. Within about 3 months, most of my bands had record deals. Within a year, they were selling millions of albums, and we rode that wave. And I was designing clothing for all the biggest bands of the 80s and 90s: Prince, Madonna, Cyndi Lauper, Thompson Twins, Duran Duran, a lot of these bands. And that was the beginning of my entrepreneurial career. I think a lot of my entrepreneurial success comes from, like, kind of 2 things, if you will. One is I just started early. I started at 15. My first exit to a public company was at 26, 27.
Damn.
Right? It was early. I just started early. So I just have a lot of years. And then also what I've learned is that, yes, I've had an illustrious history. It's cool. When you back up, when you zoom out, okay, it looks awesome. But when you zoom in, there's the trials and the tribulations and the pitfalls and making it all and then losing it all. I did all of that shit. So, I don't think I have any secret sauce. I am very open to opportunity, but I think that sometimes is a fault because, we as entrepreneurs, we're like opportunity junkies, right? It's like, what's the next shiny bright object, right? The biggest challenge is staying focused and staying in your lane. And I've done that, but I've done it through several reincarnations. But like my last one was 15 years, right? I built that business, took a long time. So anyways, my point is, like, I don't think it's that I'm great at identifying opportunities. I'm not. We've gotten better. I discovered crypto. Well, I was educated on crypto right at the beginning. Didn't get it. I'm not good at spotting opportunities. But in 2016, one of my vendors said, "Hey, can I pay you in Bitcoin?" And that moment in time, of course, changed my life. That was pretty cool. And now, as a result, we focus on exploring opportunities. We look at everything. We can stand stuff all day long for everybody under the sun. That's what happens when you become a center of influence. As you know, JM, everybody's sending you stuff all the time, right? Good stuff, bad stuff. But we look at everything because we don't know what the next Bitcoin's going to be, right? So ultimately, the answer is I put in my time and I didn't stop. And that's it. Identifying opportunities, I don't think that's good or bad. I'm an exceptional manager of people. That is my strong suit. I'm good at managing. I'm good at inspiring. And that's as you know, James, that's a big part of leadership, right? I'm good at inspiring, motivating, showing people how and what needs to get done, and then getting out of my way or getting out of their way, and not micromanaging. And as a result, I've been surrounded by very good people, which is really, been beneficial for me as well.
Yeah, well, here's what I would say, guys, because I've had a chance to spend a fair amount of time with Daven over the last year, just getting to know him. And here's what he has a very magnetism, if you will. He's unapologetically him.
Yep.
And he has a humility that I think is very attractive. Now,
appreciate that.
But none of those are my favorite parts about you, just so we're clear.
Okay.
My favorite part, I'll tell you right now, and this is something that I hope everybody can listen. I hope if you want to know, like, hey, if you care what JM cares about, this is my number one thing. Daven does what he says he's going to do. And I'll give you an example. He asked me for a PDF 2 weeks ago, I believe. Now, I went off to a trip in Europe for a week, and then he is the one that said, "Hey, do you have that for me?" I hadn't come through. Let me tell you guys, that simple act for me was like, holy shit, guys. Like, who asked? He's going to do me a favor by doing this, and he's the one asking me. So, brother, for me, when I look at all the skills that you have, that small thing to do what you say you're going to do is I find it so intriguing and attractive. And I wish more people would follow that lead.
Well, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you noticing. In my business, what my business has become, when I was in the outsourcing business, my business was outsourcing. But now, since my last exit, I've really come to realize that my business is me. My business is my brand. Now, I've been building this brand for decades, so I was always aware of that. But at this point in my life, my business is my brand. So, now we sell all kinds of things and we do different things in different niches and we're involved in different investments, but it all comes back to my brand. These investments kind of come to me because I'm a center of influence, right? And these opportunities come to us because of that. And to build that brand, I think it requires, obviously brand building. It requires transparency, and it's like your word. Your word is gold, and that's it. And if you blow that with a one-on-one relationship like you and I have, or if you blow that with your audience, it is very hard. And I haven't always got it perfect. There's been a couple of times where I've blown it, but it's very challenging to gain back that trust, that authority, that brand if you blow that. And And by the way, that's something that kind of keeps me up at night sometimes. If you decide to be out there, you build that brand, you become a thought leader, and there's a lot of benefits to that. At the same time, you become a target, right? And I don't want to be a target at all, and I like to be like an advocate for Puerto Rico and talk about the tax incentives. I think it's a great thing for Puerto Rico. And by the way, too, I'll tell you something. If you grew up in Puerto Rico, like if you're a Puerto Rican native, it kind of sucks. A lot of them don't know that they can also get these tax incentives, which, by
Mm.
the way, is why I created the San Juan Social Club, to create that communication channel between us, because they can get them all except for the individual investor credit. Um, and there may be some changes soon to make that available for them as well, which it should be. It should be available for everyone. But anyways, my point is, yeah, if you're going to put yourself out there, you're at risk. I mean, you are, and that sucks. So, but especially in this day and age, but I believe that if you try to do right by people, if you are of your word, if you're fully transparent, I think that's the best shot you got. So that's our
Well,
track.
and here's the other thing that how I met Daven was he has this one specific thing that I come, as you guys know, come from the financial service background, and he has this ability to want to bring value to every conversation. Right.
Yeah.
That's what I've noticed is like
I don't like
even
too. Like, yeah, but I
doesn't do much
love,
for you, right?
but I love conversations like this, right? Like my favorite thing to do is to hang out with like-minded entrepreneurs and exchange ideas. That's number one. Like one time I went to visit a friend of mine in Greece, and he was having a mastermind at his house, but I just happened to be coming down to see him that week. And he goes, "Yeah, just come down, stay at my house." He goes, I'll be doing a mastermind, but we'll hang out in the evenings. And so I go, "Great." I spent the whole time in the mastermind because that's my favorite thing to do, right? I just love it. I love it. Anyways, go ahead.
So you're what I've noticed. You like to bring value to each conversation. Now, there one of the things that I want my audience to hear is what this whole capstone thing is, because
Okay,
I haven't gone out publicly. I've
cool.
done it off one-on-ones.
Right.
Hey, oh, you have over 20 employees. Have you heard of blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
So just because I have the resident expert here, I may as well have you explain it. What is capstone and who would most benefit from it? Because to me, you know how many referrals I send you. I send them all the time because I get excited about the program. But I would love for you to explain to the audience what that is, because I think there is so much value to the employer, to the employee, to the person potentially referring. It's such a win-win-win.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to share that. So once again, I'm just going to preface this by saying that I am not an accountant or a tax expert. So please, consult professionals to get advice around these kind of benefits and what have you. But I have the exclusive license here in Puerto Rico. I'm one of a few private label holders in the States for a product called Capstone Health. We go into companies that have employees, preferably 20 at least. We could do as low as 10, but preferably around 20 or more. And we utilize some tax codes under the Affordable Care Act. It creates on average, $600 to $800 annual FICA tax deduction per employee back to the employer. It creates a net increase in pay to the employee, some generally around $1,000 to a couple $1,000s a year. So the employees get a small bump in pay, which is nice. And they get some overlay wellness benefits on top of whatever they may or may not currently have. There's no disruption to their current benefits package. It's all about creating healthier, more present employees in the workplace, even bringing down potential healthcare claims. And there's no net cost to the employee. There's no net cost to the employer. It's all paid for by legal tax incentives. So it's a win for everybody. The employer gets happier employees because it checks off all the boxes. It gives them a little extra pay. It makes them healthier and wealthier. It's great. And of course, they save a bunch of money too. So, I believe that any business should be doing this, and it's at the end of the day, it's all about increasing EBITDA. And I'll share with you a case study. We have a client, a couple thousand employees, wrapping up that deal. Once it's done, the employer, and I spoke about this in Miami just a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, at a family office conference. So 2,000 employees. he will save 1.5 million a year in his business. All of his employees will receive a net increase in pay and wellness benefits. But what was really cool is this friend has a 10 times valuation in his business. And I know this because we're now selling his company back to his employees at an ESOP. So essentially, we increased their EBITDA by 15 million in 8 weeks, 1.5 times 10. And now we're selling it back to his employees for $250 million in a 3 tranche deal. So it's a huge win for him. So yeah, it's great, and anybody that's has employees should absolutely take advantage of it.
Why don't more people know about it? That's the one thing, because I always, right, wrong, or indifferent, I'm like, do you guys remember PPP? Do you remember ERC? And that's when people are like, yeah. I'm like, well, it's a program like that, but very few people know about it.
Yeah.
And I get it's too good to be true. I don't get it. And that's why I take my hands off the wheel, right? And I say, talk to Daven, right?
Yeah.
And that's always my answer. But since I have you, because it's not too good to be true, I'm watching clients do, and I love the case study you just gave. Imagine your valuation went up that much, guys. Your EBITDA just skyrockets because you do this simple plan at no cost to you. So why don't more people know about it, and why isn't it too good to be true?
Yeah. So the word's getting out now. I think people are starting to hear about it now, finally. But also, I liken it to me moving to Puerto Rico. So remember, I heard about Puerto Rico 11 years ago. And what did I say? I said exactly that. Sounds too good to be true, right? And same thing I said when I heard about Bitcoin in 2010 or 11, whatever it was, right? Sounds too good to be true. I don't say that anymore. Now I take the time to do the due diligence and look into it. And that's what I did. So I went through the hundreds of pages of really exciting tax law. And yeah, that's all. It's just one of two things. Either, the word hasn't got out yet and it's starting to, and the whole too good to be true thing, which of course is, always a concern. And so what we do too is we indemnify our clients as well. So it's really not a big deal.
Yeah, and here's what I will say. It's why I wrote my third book, Upgrade. People don't like change, right? This is a change. Like, it's not what,
but it's today change is like critical, right? Because things are changing so fast. If you don't jump on change, you're completely out of the loop.
Yeah, you're getting left behind, right? Here's an opportunity, take it. I remember watching, I think it was Bill Gates was on with a reporter one time, and he said, here's a blank check. Write whatever amount you want down, and I will give it to you right now. He didn't put a limit at all.
Uh-huh.
The person ended up writing like $1,000 on the check after being coaxed. No, I'm not kidding. Being coaxed and coaxed. And he goes, why didn't you write $1 million? Why didn't you write 10 million? And the point was, it's like, again, seizing an opportunity. It's right in front of you. It's literally no cost to you. And yet people will stand on that hill and be like, I'm not doing it because it's not the tradition. I don't know. It doesn't make any damn sense to me.
It's shocking, right? I mean, who would think anybody would say no? By the way, I'm just curious, what would have happened? What do you think would have happened if the guy wrote 100 million on the check?
I think he gets paid. I mean,
idiot.
When you're Bill Gates,
yeah, right.
I mean, 100 million to him, that's a tremendous amount of money to almost everyone in the world.
Right.
But to him, yeah, I think he gets paid.
Yeah, probably.
And I guess the point of it is capture the opportunity. And I'm not saying, look, Capstone may be for you, it may not, but look into it, guys. And this is me on my platform saying, I'm trying to reach as many people, tell people about it, because I think it's awesome. Yeah. I don't get any benefit from it, but I think you should.
100%.
Gosh, I could go so many ways with this, because I haven't told you congratulations on meeting your birth parents and getting to that's amazing. And congratulations
too. It was really a life-changing week. Like, I always thought that I was complete because my parents were so great, and I was on that level. But to actually sit across from a table with somebody, like I said, that talks like you, acts like you, looks like you, there's something to know where your roots were, how you came into this world, what the story of you. is a big deal. It's something.
Yeah, my best friend is adopted, and his parents are incredible. They are like a second mom and dad to me.
Yeah.
But his birth parents, when he got a chance to get to know them, like you said, this is mom and dad, and this
Yep.
is birth
Right.
parents.
Right.
But to have that history, to know, like, as simple as like health challenges, perhaps, or where did you come from? Like, it's a big deal. So congrats on that. And then congrats on your soon to be bride.
Yes. Thank you.
You briefly mentioned it, but if people did want to go on the cruise and they're like, yeah, dude, I want to go see you
Yeah.
get married and
Let's
have
talk
an
about
awesome time on a Virgin cruise,
Yeah.
how do they do that?
Sure. So first of all, I'll just kind of explain the cruise. So as I shared earlier, for the last decade, I've spoken on the Marketers Cruise. That's where JM and I met. And there were three byproducts of doing that cruise every year. One, I made tens of millions of dollars from those connections. Two, because I was doing all these joint venture deals with everybody I met on the cruise and they were global, they went back to their respective countries and shared the word of me. And that's how I became a global brand in my space, millions of followers all over the world, changed everything in my business and my life. And all of our best friends came from that cruise. Why? Because if we jump on a call, that's something. But if we break bread together, if we have a dinner together, we become better friends. But if we spend a week together and we have this adventure together, we become besties, right? And then if we do it every year, it takes our relationship to a whole new level. And as entrepreneurs, we get to do business with the people we want to, and we go deeper and we figure out ways to make more money and be more profitable and have more fun. And that's what happened. And so I wanted to create that for Puerto Rico. We had the idea days after we got here, I think day 2 or 3, but it was way too early. Cruise ships weren't even coming into Puerto Rico because of the hurricane. It was knocked out and nobody would have gone on a cruise at the time. Puerto Rico was rebuilding. So we tabled that. And then a few years ago decided to take the plunge. And I had hopes for what I wanted it to be. I'd seen the Marketers Cruise before. I thought I saw what was possible. Day 1 of my cruise, I said, you're all here. I said, do you guys have any clue what's going to happen over the next week? And they all were like, no. But they came. And then, I had this vision for it. Then it turned out to be even better. And why was that? Well, here's the thing. Here's the secret sauce. So first of all, Puerto Rico's a tax haven. So again, you get all the movers and shakers, right? It's like cream, you're getting the cream rising to the top. So they are here. Then you've got, so that's, layer 1, all these people that have come here for tax incentives. Layer 2, all the successful entrepreneurs that were already here in Puerto Rico before there were the tax incentives. And then 3, all the people, the movers and shakers from the 51 countries that I've spoken to over the last decade. When you're on stages, you're meeting all the top people in every space. And I reached out to them and said, come on my cruise. So what happened was all the people from all over the globe started to learn about what the people from Puerto Rico were doing and they got fired up. And all the people from Puerto Rico learned about what all the people from all over the globe were doing and they got fired up, and magic happened. And that's what I'd really hope was going to happen. I didn't know, but it turned out even better than I thought. So you don't need to be from Puerto Rico to come on the San Juan Social Club cruise. If you just love to surround yourself with like-minded entrepreneurs that are happening, you want to make deals, meet awesome friends, you got to come on the cruise. It's spectacular. So we'll definitely put a link in the show notes, but the link for the cruise is San Juan Social Club. Sorry, SanJuanSocialCruise.com. SanJuanSocialCruise.com. When you book, make sure you select "Let's Go Win" in the drop down. Okay, that way we put you in the cool kids section. All right. The cruise is on Virgin. We go out next year. It's annual though, so whenever you're seeing this, it'll be happening at some point. But next year, it's March 21st to the 28th, 2026. We leave out of San Juan, Puerto Rico. We cruise around the Caribbean. We come back to San Juan. What's unique about most people, if you've cruised before, you probably left out of Miami, probably maybe New York or maybe LA. When you leave out of Florida and you go to the Caribbean, you usually have a day or two at sea coming in and a day or two at sea coming out. When you leave out of the Caribbean already, you're in a new port every day. It's like It's really cool. But we're on Virgin. If you've been on a cruise before, that's one thing. But if you haven't been on Virgin, that's a whole nother level. So Virgin is reinventing the game for adult cruisers. So there's no kids. There's no dining room. They're all specialty restaurants. None of them are upsells. They're all included. The food is all Michelin inspired menus. In the morning, good morning, this is your cruise director. Doesn't exist. There are no announcements. It's like being on a hip, cool Miami boutique hotel on the water. It's just super Branson-y, by the way. And our first cruise, Richard showed up, which was really cool. We cruised by his island. He rolled up on his catamaran. We knew it was going to happen. It was great. But it's just awesome. And then to throw on top of that, we have speakers and meetups constantly. Speakers just a little bit, but meetups constantly. And it's tremendous. If you want to do business and have a blast on a killer workation, then you want to come on the cruise. San Juan Social Cruise.com.
Guys, he made tens and tens of millions of dollars on Marketer's Cruise. And I'm not saying Marketer's Cruise is amazing. It's been very fruitful for us as well. This is another level. I'm telling you, and that's not a slight to the Marketer's Cruise. It's not just slightly different demographic. If you're looking for an amazing, like you said, what do you call it? Work vacation?
I call it a workation. Yeah. And by the way, on the Marketer's Cruise, the distinction is everybody's a marketer. This is just like high level entrepreneurs, and there's a sprinkling of marketers, but not everybody's a marketer. So yeah.
Gosh, I had a question. I just lost it. Oh, I know what I was going to ask you. Speaking of joint ventures, because I find the people that have had the most success do find ways to collaborate. Nobody built this by themselves, right? And as I look back at, some of the people that I look up to, you being one of those, one of the things I see is like, damn, he did a really good job surrounding himself with great people and, networking with great people and collaborating. What do you think the key is, brother? Because I think if more people could do that, I think they can unlock some of their dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. So that came from my marketing days, right? So I've been a marketer for the last 20 years, got really good at it, maybe in the last 15, 16, 17 years of it. And in the marketing world, you're arguably one of the biggest sources of traffic for your business. Of course, there's paid traffic, but beyond that is joint ventures or affiliate marketing. So let me kind of explain that, because some people might get that. Some people, it might just be totally Greek to them, right? So there are a gazillion companies out there that have a proven product or service. They have marketing material. They will give you a link, or it could be offline. And you share that link, and if somebody buys their product, they will pay you. That's the simplest form of affiliate marketing. And what affiliate marketing is incredible. Why? Well, you actually will pay more for a lead that comes through affiliate marketing than you will from buying like Facebook traffic, let's say. But like it's the highest paid traffic I pay for. Like I pay a lot for those sales. But what do I care? Because I only pay for the sales I receive, right? What if you could go to Facebook, drop $100,000 a month with the caveat that you'll only pay for the business that you get, okay? And I guess technically you can pay per conversion, what have you, but that's my point, is that you only pay for what you receive, and I'll do that all day long, okay? And so now we've explain the definition of affiliate marketing. Now, in the world of affiliate marketing, and this is just referral marketing too, right? Making deals with collaborating, same thing that you're talking about, Jam. It's like collaborating with a dollar sign, right? That's affiliate marketing. Now, within that realm is what we call JVs or joint ventures, okay? And a joint venture is the same thing as, like a JV partner is the same thing as an affiliate. The only difference is, I'll give you an example. My last company that I exited was 123 employee. We're in the outsourcing space. And we had well over 10,000 affiliates, maybe 12, 13, 14, 15,000 affiliates. Now, I called those affiliates my invisible workforce because they were generating business for me, whether I was sleeping or working. It was great. All day, all the time. Now, all of those affiliates, most of them were like babies. They would send me like 0 deals a year to 1 deal a year. Okay. But again, when you multiply it times 10, 15,000, it's big collectively. And then we had what we called our JV partners, and they were affiliates too. But the difference is these were all so those affiliates I talked about, I didn't know any of them. Okay. I love every single one of them, but I don't know. Then we have our JV partners. Perfect example would be like you and Lisa, JM. So our joint venture partners, they are affiliates, if you will, or referral partners, but they're the big boys and girls. They're the ones that could generate a lot of business. If I do a webinar with one of them, I could probably generate 10 to maybe $150,000 in about 90 minutes. These are great friends to have, right? And as a result, I know them very well. My kids hung out with their kids while my kids were growing up. We traveled all over the world together. I mean, so like when we met, I think we met through Mike and Michelle, Phil Same, yep. Right? I've been to, I don't know, maybe 25 countries with them over the last decade and a half. We do everything. We take elaborate dinners all over the globe. Why wouldn't you? Because, you make so much money together, you got the money to do it. And it's a great thing, right? And I always say, it's one thing to have like best friends. It's another thing to have best friends that you make a lot of money with, right? That just takes it to a whole nother level. It's just so fun and you can do all this cool stuff together. And so those are the joint venture partners. So that really trained me. It showed me the value of affiliates, and it showed me how to create affiliate funnels and processes. So when we met, I shared with you this opportunity. This is a little bit more offline. I mean, I can generate you affiliate links and stuff, but you've never sent out an affiliate link. You made personal connections for me. But you had explained to me that you and Lisa had been pitched similar opportunities to this a few times. But the reason you decided to work with me is because I had a whole process and system in place. You could just plug in and it worked. And that came from my last 15 years of being an affiliate marketer. If I have an opportunity, if I've created something, my team and I, we know how to create the whole funnel to bring people in, the whole tracking system, the whole process for follow-up. And that has been massively huge in my business because I can start something and generate a ton of business to it. And I do that through three ways, by the way. When I create a new business, one is I bring it in through my influence, right? My 1.5 million followers globally. That's one. Number two, we do paid advertising. Okay. We have a department in our company that does that, runs traffic in a lot of different niches. And then three is personal relationships. And depending on the opportunity, some lend to, some skew more towards one or the other. And I'll give you a perfect example. So we're talking about Capstone. The benefit space is highly competitive and full of people, right? And full of people that spend a lot of money on their marketing. Paid traffic did not work for this. It didn't work. It was cost prohibitive. We ran the testing. We probably could have taken it further and cracked it in one way, shape, or form, but it would have been very expensive. Will we go there at some point and revisit it? Maybe. If things dry up, yeah, maybe. Then we went to my warm market, which is so big. I mean, we've been running it for, I don't know, warm market marketing for this opportunity for a year and a half, and I could do it for years. So that's going to keep going. Warm market is people like JM, and we plug them into that funnel. And then lastly, paid traffic. Sorry, that's everything, right? So I was explaining how Capstone fits in. So didn't do great for paid, for paid. Works great for our personal connections, and it has also worked well for the base of followers or community that we've created. So there's our ongoing. We have even without running any paid traffic, we just have a limitless source of leads all day long, and now we're starting to scale the team that's working through those. So, well,
brother, it's because you execute. At the end of the day, you actually do what you say you're going to do, and that's what I think the theme of this is you guys execute. Yeah, I can't believe it. And brother, I hate to do it. We are literally out of time. If people want to connect with you, they're like, yeah, man, I want to be a joint venture. I want to have best friends with Daven. Like, I want to go on this cruise. Best place to reach you, man, because I'm blessed to have you in my circle, in my inner circle, and I really feel you bring so much value to the table. So I'd love for my listeners to have that same opportunity.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. I'm Daven Michaels on everything. So just go to davenmichaels.com, DavenMichaels. or on any social media, if you just go at Daven Michaels, except for TikTok. I think that one's Daven Michaels 1. So just at Daven Michaels on anything.
Awesome. Brother, I appreciate you, the way you show up, who you are, and thank you for being on today. So good.
Appreciate it.
Well, like I said, guys, he's one of my favorite people because he gives me so much energy. He is just one of those people that you want to be around. He's, like I said on the show, he has this magnetism about him. There's a cool confidence, and he just does cool stuff. And yet he's so humble. I thought when he talked about just moving to Puerto Rico, I thought it was hilarious that, not hilarious, I guess it was interesting that they're literally no power for like 3.5, 4 months, and he still made the decision. It's just kind of the fearlessness that he has as he goes into some of these things. And I think that's why he has so much success, is because he's got this confidence about him. And he's just one of those people that I'm so grateful to have in my inner circle. And you have the same chance. As he said, go check out the San Juan Social Club. Go check out the cruise that's coming up next March. It is going to be with incredible people, and that's saying your network is your net worth. Daven has an incredibly high net worth, and his network is exceptional, and you get the chance to be around those people as well. So do yourself a favor, check him out, check out going on the cruise. I hope to see you guys there. And also do me a favor, if you would, please make sure to like and subscribe to all our stuff, the YouTube channel, and share this podcast out. That helps us grow and have amazing guests like we had with Daven. And we also hit top 100 in 3 different categories. And I want to say thank you as the audience for being a huge part of that. So until next time, remember, your mindset matters. I appreciate y'all. We'll talk soon.